This whole world's mad, except thee and me, and I'm not sure about thee. And if you didn't understand that, you're racist. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm glad to be here on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. A few years ago, a Glaswegian politician who was perfectly capable of speaking in an intelligible way, when asked to explain something that was inexplicable, reverted to a very strong Glaswegian accent which made him all but unintelligible, not only to me but to everyone. I actually stopped the meeting and called for the man to speak normally. And the chairman of the meeting said something like, "If you don't stop such racist comments, I'll have you removed from the meeting." I thought that was a one-off in a particularly corrupt situation, but apparently not. No. Now, actually not understanding someone with a strong accent is racism, according to this judge here. And if you want an explanation for what I'd said at the beginning, it was that the whole world is mad except you and me. And I'm not so sure about you. And certainly I'm not so sure about this judge. Because he made a ruling after a university worker was criticised over her strong Brazilian accent. A lot of Brazilians coming up in the news recently, aren't they? It says here, telling someone with a foreign accent you can't understand them could be racial harassment. You know, if you can't understand someone, that may be your bad. But it's not racial harassment, it's you just not being wired to understand a certain accent. You are allowed to be confused by information that you can't absorb. That's not racial harassment. The senior circuit judge of the Employment Appeal Tribunal, which is called EAT. Have you ever heard that one about a revolution eating its own children? Well, that's what's going on here. Made the ruling following a case about a university worker who sued when she received criticism over her strong Brazilian accent. Elaine Carozzi, I suppose that's Carozzi. I may have mispronounced that, and if I have, I would probably be accused of racism. Took the University of Hertfordshire to an employment tribunal claiming she suffered racial discrimination and harassment over comments about her accent. Now, if I were in a situation where my accent made me unintelligible to some people, then I would consider it my duty to improve my accent in some way. I would not consider it the duty of the people listening to me to pretend to understand me when they didn't. She was a marketing manager. I don't know why the University of Hertfordshire has a marketing manager, but apparently they do. She had a good grasp of the English language, so obviously a good vocabulary. Managers at the institution had allegedly struggled to understand what she was saying, and it should not be their job to understand what one of their employees is saying. It's on the employee, isn't it? Her claims were dismissed by a 2021 tribunal in Watford, which proves that there was a time when people were sane. But that was 2021. A lot has happened since then. 3 years to be precise, and that's plenty of time for everybody to go mad. So she has now won a legal battle to have part of her case reheard, as the appeal tribunal found that there were mistakes in the decision. Judge Taylor found the original panel erred in law when it found that the University of Hertfordshire did not racially harass Ms. Carosi. Right, so the University of Hertfordshire made a legal mistake by saying that they couldn't understand Miss Carosi's apparently very strong Brazilian accent, and so that's racial harassment. He suggested, that's Judge Taylor, that comments about not understanding someone with a foreign accent could still be harassment because an accent may be an important part of a person's national or ethnic identity. Let's just pick this apart a little bit. This woman, who spoke good English apparently, that's nice, had a very strong accent, which can be fixed, at least partially. But her strong accent was her identity. She identifies as a Brazilian. No jokes there, you fellas. I've had enough of that. She identifies as a citizen of a South American country. Have we got that straight, gentlemen? And that's part of her identity. So if you can't understand her, then you are racially harassing her. Just like if you see, as has happened quite recently, I don't have a clipping here now, but a young woman at a football match asked a large bloke of obviously masculine outline, pretending to be a woman anyway. She asked, "Are you a man?" And I think she was arrested. I don't have the whole details now, but she was certainly brought up in some sort of a legal tangle because of what she'd said, the question she'd asked. So, you know that one about Voltaire saying, if you can be made to believe absurdities, you can be made to commit atrocities. Actually, he didn't quite say that. He said something like, if they can make you believe absurdity, then they can also make you unjust. But the whole sentence meant that you would be likely to do really awful things, sorry about that, in the service of the absurdity. Well, here we are. We are being told that if we can't understand somebody's incomprehensible accent, you must therefore pretend to understand it, or you are racially harassing somebody. Because the accent is part of this person's personality. And so you're making a direct dig at their personality. Now, what about them making a direct dig on you? That is, they are not doing you the honour of speaking to you in a way that's intelligible. I find this sort of a judgment to be absurd. Then back to Voltaire's absurdity. Comments about not understanding someone with a foreign accent could still be harassment because an accent may be an important part of a person's national or ethnic identity. Look, if you're trying to live and work in a country, then it is up to you to understand and speak the language of that country and to do it in as clear a way as possible. You are in their country. It's only polite to be able to speak in a way that they can understand, surely. And the judge could have just as easily said that to her. No, you are being racist. I mean, if you're going to use the word racist when you're talking about Sunday's accent, you are being racist by not accommodating the people among whom you are living. Comments about a person's accent related to the protected characteristic of race, he said at the appeal tribunal. Listen, why not go the whole hog? Why not expect people to understand the language you're talking? She's Brazilian. Why wasn't she just talking in Portuguese or Brazilian Portuguese? After all, that is part of her identity. I mean, she should be able to just speak Portuguese, and then everybody should be expected to understand her. And if they don't, then, well, that's their problem. They're being racist. The judge said criticism of such an accent could violate dignity and could therefore be harassment. Oh, the judge also said the original tribunal made mistakes in two other judgments, one relating to a claim about Miss Carose's accent and another about victimisation. Concluding, Judge Taylor said these three complaints should be heard by a new tribunal. A University of Hertfordshire spokesperson said there have been no findings of discrimination in relation to Miss Carose's accent. The university is committed to creating diverse, inclusive, and here we go with the grinding out of the formula, inclusive and welcoming environment for our global community spanning 140 nationalities, so that everyone, no matter their background, feels welcome and safe. We have comprehensive inclusivity training and policies and regular workplace culture assessments. We also adopt the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. Oh, they're into anti-Semitism. Hang on, I don't see Islamophobia. I'll bet you that's Islamophobic. As clarified by the Home Affairs Select Committee in 2016. All right. Well, as I said, tall wolves mouth set thee and me. I'm not so sure about thee or they. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.